Okay guys, the first piece of equipment we're going to use for this lab is a digital balance. And here's how you use a digital balance. For starters, you have to make sure it's plugged in. These can run on batteries, but right now they don't have any batteries in them. Then, without anything on the plate, nothing that you need to weigh, you need to hit the on button. And then you wait. The whole screen will light up. It'll run through a little check to make sure everything's working right, and it'll count down 4, 3, 2, 1. Then it will go to 0. Once it reads 0, it's safe to put something on the metal plate and then watch carefully until the star shows up in the corner, which tells us that this is now the official mass. Notice that it's reading in grams. Okay? And that's it. That's how you use a digital balance. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. A lot of folks, when they see a balance, the first thing they want to do is push on the plate and try to see what happens when they max it out. This is a $532 balance. If you break it by putting weight on it, you will be paying for a new balance. The maximum weight that should ever be on this balance is 400 grams. Okay guys, the second piece of equipment you're going to be using in class is called a triple beam balance. It measures mass just like the digital balance does, but notice that it has these 3 beams. The one in the middle, whenever you move this metal piece into the next notch, is 100 grams. The one in the back, every time you move the metal piece into a new notch, it's 10 grams. And the one up front doesn't have notches. You slide it along here. The goal is to find out the weight of an object by making this little line up perfectly. So notice that it's pretty close to perfect right now with nothing on there. So I'm going to put an object there, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to try and get that to 0 out. Now I'm going to start by moving 10, still too high. So I'm going to go to 20, still too high. I'm going to go to 30, still too high. I'm going to go to 40, still too high. When I go to 50, it's getting closer but not quite there. Now if I go to 60, you'll see that now it's too low. So I need to come back to 50, okay? And now, watching the needle, I need to slide this guy right here along the bar until the needle comes down and lines up. Notice it's coming down now. Go a little bit further. A little bit further, and a little bit further. So that would be just right. So I read this as 57.4 grams. All right, guys, the third piece of equipment you're going to be using in this lab is a tape measure. Now, in your instructions it says meter stick, but we decided to go with a tape measure instead. To open up these tape measures, you have to unlock them first by popping up this little metal handle, okay? Folding it back. Now you can pull out the tape to measure distance. Now, we're not going to be measuring a very large distance. There's no need for you to pull out a large amount of tape. But notice that it starts at 10. That is 10 centimeters, okay? So let's say I want to measure the width of this box. We're going to stick with the black side, that's the centimeters. I'm going to lay it across the tape, starting at the 10, and read how many centimeters across it is. In this case, it goes from the 10 to about the 16.5. So that makes this 6.5 centimeters long. And that's it. Okay guys, the last tool we're going to be using in class today is a graduated cylinder. It gets its name because it's a cylinder that has numbers marked on it. You need to start by filling the cylinder about halfway with water. Now it doesn't matter exactly how much you put in there, as long as you accurately read the amount that you have. Now, to read the amount of water in a cylinder, you have to look at it from the edge, just like this, and you have to read the highest mark on the graduations here. So in this case, we're going to call that 49 milliliters. Then you add your object, and you take another measurement, and you subtract them. Same thing is true for the smaller graduated cylinder. You fill it up halfway-ish, take an initial measurement, add the item, then take a second measurement. Don't forget that cleanup involves pouring this water down the drain, shaking out excess water, and leaving the graduated cylinder upside down to dry on the back of the sink.